Thank you very much for joining. So the showcase for today is this cohort that we've had this last 6 or 7 weeks. It's about how do we make the food industry better by leading with love. What kind of concept is that actually, huh? But it is trying to do the change making, but coming from a place of love, community building, etc., rather than fear and divisiveness. That's what we're going to share a little bit about in this showcase today. So the plan for today is quite simple. We'll try to break down the essence of what this project is, and we'll go out into breakout rooms, meet each other, and there'll be some questions along the way. And we'll also be hearing the stories from the different people that have been part of this program. We call them the doers. This is not only for staying online and chatting and talking theory. We're out there putting it into practice. And so that's why we call these people that participate in this program doers, because they go out and do the change. That'll be roughly the first 60 minutes. And after that, we'll invite you to hang around if you like. We have this informal space that we call the after party, where it might be curious to connect and hang around, ask some questions, and simply just talk. Just for you to let you know that you're welcome to stay. But first, we have this little ritual of taking a breath together, allowing us to settle in and being present here for really having the full benefit of what these meetings are. It's important to settle in and be present. This little exercise here is called box breathing, also Navy SEAL breathing. It's something that also surgeons do before they start a surgery. A good way to really making sure that you're present in whatever it is that you're doing. Simply like breathing in a box. You can, on one side, we go up, breathing in. On the top, we hold our breath. And on the other side, we go out. And again, at the bottom, we hold our breath. It's really this holding at the top and the bottom that do the difference. Simply just feel your seat, get comfortable in your space, loosen up your shoulders a little bit. And if you want, you can have your eyes closed or lower your gaze, whatever's comfortable for you. And then we're getting ready. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. One more at your own pace, please. While you are in that space, keep your eyes closed a little bit. Write yourself a permission slip for today. What's something that's needed in your space to allow you to be fully present here? Something you need to let go of, take on, allow yourself to be more active or more quiet in a meeting like this. Please allow yourself that permission slip for today. And when you're ready, just slowly come back to this space. Thank you so much for joining. Maybe just one little thing that's curious here. Wondering how many of you guys are actually active in this food industry? How many of you are farmers? How many maybe is in a community garden, working in any place in the food industry? Just having a feel for how many of you are. Jana, I know you, yeah? Casey, a little bit, yeah? You're producing? Good. Brooke as well? Yeah, definitely, absolutely. The thing is that, what is it that brings us here? That passion for this how do you say, the food industry, the food system, quality of life, health, nutrition, the soil. Most of us have had some kind of, inspiring video, or it's actually good to see how many is actually out there doing something, right? On whatever little scale that might be. I'd like to give a little applause for you guys. Thank you. Setting the prompt for this this breakup. Try to discover what ripple effects brought you here today. What was it that led that you showed up here today? See how much you can discover about that other person that you're going to meet in 4 minutes. Okay.
There's never enough time in those.
Impossible. Welcome back. Hope you had a good experience. Learn something. I'll pass it on to Adam, right?
So I know this sounds pretty broad and big, but how do we actually make the food industry better? And there's a lot of pictures on the screen here, but I mean, we have where our food's coming from, where how it gets to you, who makes it, who's enjoying it, and where does this go afterward? And how are we actually making this better? So if all these pictures at first glance are not overwhelming to try to process, the next slide I'll acknowledge is intentionally overwhelming. You know, how are we actually improving our food industry? It can feel super broad, super overwhelming. Our take on this is one person, one connection, one ripple effect at a time. When we really think at how our interactions ripple out, who they impact, where they go, what we're doing in this community is breaking down this desire for healing in the food industry into that one connection, one conversation at a time, so that we can learn how do we bring more vibrancy into that person's life, that restaurant's experience, that farmer's world. And our approach to doing this is called gratitude-based learning. But to imagine that you're the person that someone else wants to change, bring that to mind. Like if you're the person that someone else want to change, like how would you like people to interact with you? And so our approach to change making is this: we're leading with love rather than fear, gratitude rather than problems, curiosity rather than just telling, connecting rather than dividing, discovering rather than pushing, celebrating rather than avoiding, and supporting rather than isolating. As we're bringing this into healing the food industry, it most absolutely becomes just part of the way we are in our lives as well. So healing the food industry is just kind of the entry point in this initiative where we're getting to start putting that into practice. You know, if you're the farmer, the restaurateur, the manufacturer, which would you rather be on the receiving end of? Not to be super biased by the green and red here, but would you rather feel seen and heard and valued and appreciated, or someone coming to you and you feeling told and judged and criticized or not included? This sounds wonderful in theory, right? It feels good. It sounds like a lot of things can sound good in theory. The way we're putting this gratitude-based theory into practice is we call online programs for offline action. So we meet online, but we're then taking action using gratitude-based learning in the real world. And so we've broken this down into 3 programs at a high level. We have a training program, a discovery program, and an accelerator program. And the training program is practicing how to approach change-making conversations leading with love in the simplest form. The discovery program is learning, well, then where would you like to apply these skills in your life? And then the third is, let's say you found an area that you want to apply this. The accelerator program is bringing this essence into starting or running a project or a company or another community initiative. And this is, I will say, evolved fairly organically. And so this organic growth has been pretty remarkable. So in just a little over a year, our training programs touch 6 continents, and we just finished our 8th training cohort. Today, you're going to get to hear some of those stories from participants. The phrase that we like to use is this is a half-baked cookie. You know, it keeps evolving, right? We're connecting with so many different folks. We're not just talking about this. We're going out and we're connecting with so many folks, and you can see the pictures on the screen. It's a half-baked cookie because it's not, all right, this is this fixed program and we're just giving something to you. It's actually a recipe that the more we interact, the more people join this, the more feedback that's giving, the more people show up as their whole selves. This keeps evolving. It's been tremendously valuable for people to participate in this and take ownership of this, not as like you're signing up for something, and it's very much different in that sense. So there's a lot of different folks that in the food industry that we've gone out and connected with, neighbors who are doing community gardens and just gardening for their family, to chefs, farmers, restaurant owners, students reaching out to cafeteria managers, and just even one another. It's been pretty incredible. It's not just about the food industry, though. We're getting to apply this into so many aspects of our lives. We're going to go back into these breakout rooms and deepen that connection and get really curious, though, about, is there a person or industry that you've been eager to change, eager to see things done differently? And what we'll put out there is, are there areas that have been maybe harder to lead with love and gratitude?
Welcome back. So good to see you again. I can't wait. I just wanted to share, I was in my breakout room saying I want to change all my neighbors because they have so many dogs and they are talking to each other at night. I really would like to see that change, right? But then, when I was asking Charlie what would he like to change, and it just blew my mind. He said, what about that person here inside? That's the one I would like to change. So I just want to applause for Charlie. I mean, wow, isn't that a good place to start? Maybe we could hear from just a few others. Who would you like to change?
We want to change everything.
Yes.
Yeah, but
So
you know, I think that's something we have in common, right? All of us here. We like to see a better world, right? I think we're advocates for change or change makers, what we would like to call it, right? And I think it's fair as well to say that we can do better, isn't it? On whatever little level, we can all do better. This whole program is about how do we do that? And so I would like to hear some stories from the people that have tried to apply this in their lives and gone through this program. And Shanna, would it be okay if I asked you to go first and share something from that experience of joining the cohort, setting out to have a curiosity conversation with somebody in this food system, or learning gratitude-based learning? That whole experience could give so many different stories to tell. But I've asked you to try to just narrow it down to one. What would you like to share with this community from your experience?
oh my gosh, just one. Well, I think what is the most potent is the sense of connection, with connecting to other like-minded people who are also on their path with their passions. And in this journey, sometimes you can feel a bit you can get forlorn and weary and burnt out. And so it was an absolute gift. I was in that place a little bit, and so it was like an oasis in the desert to connect with other people. There's just something so powerful about that. So that would be it. If you're gonna leave me with one thing, that's it.
You can drop a little bit more time if you like to elaborate on what does it mean to you. I mean, what can you use that space for?
Well, that support that you get, the support that I've been able to get, is just to continue with the passion project that I've had in my life. Like I said, I was feeling a bit burnt out, but it just helps me to reflect, to look at, and really seek out other connections within my life in a more gentle, kind way and supportive way, reflective of what I'm getting from the group. So it's like it's that ripple effect of what how I'm being nourished is then now how I go on to nourish those around me, and that has been really powerful. I've definitely noticed that for sure.
So if we were to elaborate a little bit on those dynamics in those groups, what is it that we are doing in those meetings? I mean, I would hate to say that it's just, me and Adam facilitating and telling you all, right? We are meeting in these little groups of 4 to 5 people or something like that, online, right? But then we go out and take this offline action, connecting with people. What are the dynamics? What do we do in those spaces?
The most valuable thing I was able to really experience was the questions that were asked of me. I need to share what I'm thinking about, what I'm hoping to do, and then just a simple question like, well, who would be a good person you could start that conversation with? And just that little question of like, it's that support that you get in a group of like-minded people where you might feel kind of stuck, and then someone just asks you the right question out of their own curiosity. I think that's what the powerful support is, and it's like we're really connected and getting interested in each other, and so having that what we're trained to do is being curious and caring for each other, for ourselves, and for people in our community. But man, when someone asks you a question and then you think about it, it's really powerful.
Thank you so much for sharing, Shanna. But this is the thing that I'm getting at is I could be there as a facilitator as much as I want, but the people that are in that space is half of what's going on, right? Because we connect with one another, we help each other, we reach out to one another and practice having these curiosity conversations. And so that support that you are talking about, yeah, interesting aspect. I'd like to hear one more. Carissa, you are in this space today. I'm so happy to see you. And you had a rather particular journey with this cohort.
I did.
You just share a little bit about what that was like?
Gosh. So I joined having no idea really what I was getting into. Someone I was working with asked me to take a meeting with someone else to help them write a grant and then follow up on that. And they said, hey, do you want to help these students who want to learn how to do these grants? And I was like, sure. I love the idea of high schoolers like really being prepared to go and believe in their ability to make change and to create the world that they want to live in. And so that's how I met Henrik. And it really, as I look back, there's been so many things that I'm like, this is the world that I want to live in, where the positive things that we each need just sort of show up. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. That conversation was so fun. And so I get into the training and I still really don't know what I'm doing. I don't, but I'm like, gratitude, great, learning, great. I'm here for it. And my life like blew up. And it's still continuing, where like just the number of big trials of things that have happened have just been ongoing. And so for about 2 weeks, I did not deal well at all. I didn't communicate. I didn't show up. I did not deal well. And in that and going, okay, but I really committed to this. I believe in this world. I want to make these changes. I want to be this person. I ended up going through the processes that we were learning in this training, this gratitude-based learning and curiosity conversations with myself, and going, okay, person who joined this, I'm really grateful that you did. Like, you trusted, you moved. Like, I'm really proud of you. Thank you so much for showing up. Okay, person who's struggling, what's going on with you? Okay, and I listened and I asked some more questions and I went, okay, I'm really feeling a lot of tension over showing up again and communicating anything around my absence. Old me would absolutely have just disappeared. Like, you never would have seen me again, never would have heard from me. I was like, nope, I'm too embarrassed that I didn't live up to my own standard. I'm out. Like, I'm gone. But I thought, but that's not who I want to be. That's not what we're trying to build here. So okay, then the action to take would be to say, look, guys, I'm taking responsibility for this. I know I did not show up well. That wasn't great of me, but I'm here and I'm jumping back in and I'm doing the work. It's been really fulfilling for me to hear, even just in this phone call where someone was like, I want to change myself. Yep, every day. I'm working on improving myself and finding more joy and bringing more love to this world. And someone else going, and I'm discovering that we all have the same problems. 100% agree. Like, there's so many ways that we divide each other, and yet the details may be different, but we all really face a lot of the same things. And so I'm really grateful for the framework that this training has given me to use tools that I already had, but in a slightly more effective way with myself and in the conversations that I'm having with people, whether it's my day-to-day job or it's around food or it's about, what's possible. And a lot is possible when you can come with love and humility and be open to listen and just find out where someone else is and what maybe you could do together.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Yeah. Wow. Carissa, thank you so much for sharing that one.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's one of the things that we are teaching in this program here is how to sit with the friction, right? And what I'm amazed by you is that you must have done that by self-study. Because you weren't really in the first part of the program, right? And this is actually amazing that you came back, you showed up again, right? And now you're here telling that story about what you could call the first part failure or friction or whatever. But in this program, we learn to choose what we would like to focus on. And I would like to focus on that you came back, that you showed up again, and you're here sharing your story. So let's applause for Carissa, because she overcame herself in the most incredible way. I was absolutely sure we had lost you.
Different program, different me, absolutely. But yeah. I was committed.
So happy that you listened in to what was it that spoke to you to show up in the first place. So
Yeah,
connecting with that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. One little more story before we go into breakout rooms. I'd like to ask just Brooke, you've been part of this for a longer time. What we're trying to here is add value to you guys' lives, right? Not just through this program, but what happens after the program, how to stay engaged, or and we've had this pilot with sending these little reminders in the morning. Would you share
I'd-
what
I'd
a
be
little bit about
happy
that?
to. These are little prompts to ignite in you something to focus on briefly. So it's a suggestion. Like the very first one was do some box breathing. Oh, I was like, oh, piece of cake, I can do that. And it definitely helped. And then there were things like think of the ripple effect that you are having by doing one small thing today or whatever. Then we got together, the group, and we started to realize that, in fact, this is really a continuation of when you finish your cohort, there's a bit of a withdrawal that happens because, you get to know these people. They're your buddies, your friends, your community. And it's just such a wonderful place that you leave and you can go away and keep doing your stuff or forget it because life happens. What these daily doses do is it brings you back into the community. It gives you an opportunity to connect again, to be reminded of little things like what that word friction, the friction in your life today. Think about it, look at it, sit with it, don't, that's all. Or so anyway, what we decided is that this was just such a valuable tool to have. My suggestion to the community is definitely sign up. You won't be sorry, and you'll be so grateful to come in. So Henrik continues in your life, which I think we all agree is a good thing.
So yeah, just wanted to share that we want to add value here, and so we'll find ways to do that. But now I would like to send you out into breakout rooms again, and imagine this time that you are that person that you wanted to change. Okay? You identified a person or somebody you would like to change. Now imagine you are that person. How would you like to be approached?
Too short.
Too short. Yes, I know. But I'm curious as if one or two of you would like to share, what did you come up with? How would you like to be approached? Anyone who dares to share,
Well, I'll just share how valuable this program was because simultaneously, I was going through a bit of a challenge with my daughter, being the mother of a 21-year-old. I definitely had my ideas of her health and nutrition, and came to her with some anxiety, and which had her just push me away, which made me even more anxious. So we had some issues. And so when I literally found myself in a place of anxiety and stress and approaching her, I applied this mode of like, it's not about me and my anxiety. What about her? Where is she at? Where's she coming from? And there was moments where I just put down my fear and just listened to her and inquired about where she was at. And it has shifted everything with my daughter. I mean, I sometimes forget and then I have to go back and then I do it again. But man, everything is different with my relationship with her. I mean, it's really powerful. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for sharing, Shanna. Beautiful example, right? But I think that before we enter into this space and find some tools and some ways of going about it, it seems rather complicated, right? How do we go about it? I hope you know that what you're doing to figuring out a way to make that connection with somebody, it's highly complicated, right? But we'll be there. We'll be with you all along the way, and make sure you come out much better on the other side. I would like to share another story, but this time tapping into that aspect of what's the long-term impact of being engaged with, or thinking about gratitude-based learning longer than just one little short cohort. So I'll be sharing a video.
Hi, gratitude-based learning community. I'm gonna respond to the prompt of how has gratitude-based learning, how has being a part of this community made a long-term effect? I would say, first and foremost, I continue to see how it's applicable everywhere. In the most recent times, applied it to my personal, romantic relationship, and it really helped me navigate those conversations, allowed a lot more mindfulness, intention, and celebration of all this friction that I think, would have been really hard to manage without that. I also saw it in my lifeguard training and times I experienced friction in how the city of Austin was treating the education modules. Instead of being just frustrated and writing it off, I just started asking questions about why these things were effective, and I actually learned that I was wrong in a lot of cases, but they're not wrong or right. I had a lot more to learn. There's another thing that's just really wonderful about being in this program, and that is a feeling of contribution and belonging. It builds a community just by being a part of this half-baked cookie. We have to figure out what ingredients we're going to put in it, and we all get to choose that together. There's definitely an invitation for everyone who joins to be one of the chefs baking the half-baked cookie. And this community is all about being grateful and approaching these points of friction with a sense of curiosity, joy, excitement, compassion, and through the process of creating this, we are refining what gratitude-based learning is. A shared sense of purpose for when I share with people that I am a part of something with this intention, with the intention of healing these polarizing topics and conversations through a new way of looking at them, so we don't have to be stuck in the tension of polarized sides. I feel a sense of purpose in myself when I get to talk with people about, hey, I'm a part of this gratitude-based learning curriculum and a community. It's a really valuable thing to be connected to. So long term, I get a sense of purpose for being a part of the half-baked cookie baking, because everyone loves the taste of this half-baked cookie. It's really good.
So good. Is Wyatt. He is an excellent guy, and if you enter into this space, you are going to meet him for sure. Charlie, could I ask you to present your story in the after party? We'll save the best for last here. For those who like to hang around in the after party space, we'll be asking Charlie to share.
So some people might be asking, what is this program? What specifically is this? Where do we go from here, basically? We have an info session that gets into the nitty gritty of the actual program, and I'll give a very high level of it here, but that next cohort starts that week of July 31st, and it goes for 6 weeks through August 10th. Basically the same exact time next Thursday, July 20th, we're having an info session on the program where you're going to get to essentially try it out and see, is this something that you want to vibe into? We all get one life, and our time is the most valuable thing. We get to choose what we spend our time to. So coming to the info session is a prerequisite to join, and it'll give a mutual feeling of, is this a thing for you that you want to invest your time in? And that link is just Honora Global /trainings. Just quick, a little bit about the program. What you get is it's a 6-week program, and think of it as 3 elements. There's group support, one-on-one coaching support, and call it self-work, the self-repatterning exercises in the curriculum. And so you get about 10 hours of group support, one-on-one coaching, and that self-repatterning. We valued it all together at $2,500, but the cost to join is $250 plus the gift economy. So the gift economy being whether it's sharing your story, sharing feedback, and contributing to the half-baked cookie, telling others about it, and then at the end of the program, you can pay forward however much you wish to financially help us keep offering this to more people. Because this program, even though we have this container of healing the food industry, we actually have a program like this for high school students as well. We also offer this for companies and schools. So at that link that I put in there, you can learn about those different programs. But especially for the high school students, this allows us to offer that program to free for kids. There's a video that we tend to close call it the official session with before we enter the after party. Really sums up what is it that we're doing. See where you can find yourself in this video about starting a movement.
So ladies and gentlemen, at TED, we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course, you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts, 3 is a crowd, and the crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So over the next minute, you'll see all of those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that, TED.
Thank you so much for joining. This is what it's about, you know, creating momentum. Huge shout out to all of you who participated here. This is getting close to the end of the official part, and we'll be transcending into the after party.
I just want to say that this is the most amazing community, and I think everybody who participates in these cohorts, it's transcendent. You just come away with so many subtle improvements to your communication, your listening, your relationships, who you are in this world. And whether that is a leader or a follower or just a wonderful human, it doesn't matter. Everybody is embraced. And so I just wanted to share that, because I've been a part of this community now for over a year, and I don't even remember how many cohorts I've done, but I just enjoy and love and go through withdrawals after every single one of them. So thank you.